didn't hear anything about democracy. Just addressing fellow Nigerians. And when you begin to continually hear fellow Nigerians, you know where that's coming from.
Where is it coming from?
You and I know where that is coming from.
They all say fellow Nigerians.
So obviously, if we say we are celebrating democracy, it is a global concept. And you would want to think that on a day like this, somebody will give us his own idea, what he thinks democracy is, and how that is suitable and best for Nigeria, and how it is going to affect the generosity of the people of Nigeria. Is it the best for us? Why are we in it? Where are we going with it? What have we done with it? I thought that's the kind of thing that a democracy did, as say we're celebrating a democracy. That's what we're. But what I have heard so far is normal, just everyday talk. These are the things that we'll continue to hear. We'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do that. What have we really done? Even if we're coming down, for me, that's inaugural speech. If we were looking at this on an inaugural day, it would have been okay. Let's look at it and see what and what here. But to come and have this one on a democracy day, for me, it's you have brought in all world leaders in their various states. You come and gather them and you say it's democracy you're celebrating. And then when you come, you begin to hear fellow Nigerians. I don't think it really did justice to the event of yesterday. It really didn't. But coming down to it, did I hear him say he will make attempt to remove 100 million Nigerians?
10 years.
We can do that. Abi, Nigeria can do that. Okay, that's not even a promise. It's what we have capacity to do, but whether that is what we will do or not is another matter altogether. So it's not even a promise. It's only stating that, look, we have potential, and whether what we will do or not is what I don't know now. So for me, there's actually nothing to take home from that speech. Actually, nothing to take home. It's. I mean, every time a president comes out, we want to see one thing that we want to take home. But in this one, I'm sorry to say, for me, I didn't see nothing. It's unfortunate.
All right, we got your thoughts. Dr. Emmanuel,
perhaps we'll begin to hear speeches that will begin with unfollow Nigerians. Perhaps we'll begin to hear speeches that in which we must see something arising from addressing the world and maybe calling world people and so on and so forth. Otherwise, I'm sure Mr. President is a Nigerian. I'm sure the essence of his address is to Nigerians. And so the use of the word fellow Nigerians is part of our Nigerian language, so I've not seen anything wrong. What I think the driver at the presidency will be doing in his speech, and which I saw him doing, is to remind us of several things, including our capacity as a people. It's to reminding us that we need reorientation as a people if we must get out of where we are. It's to reminding us as a people that, look, what we think should be our major driver is not our major driver. And that where our strength lies is what he has told us severally. That all of that is what we need to look at. All of that is what we need to look at. And until we understand those essence, we will not be able to get meanings out of yesterday's speech by Mr. President. I can say it loud and clear, and the message was very clear for me. One is the fact that we are at a crossroad as a nation. There are certain persons that are supposed to be statesmen in this country, are those at every point in time stoking the embers of war, that it needed to be careful. Persons that have enjoyed this nation, persons that have kept us where we are those that are creating the problems at the different points. And perhaps we need to ask ourselves, look, let's come back home. Today we have militancy and all the rest in the Niger Delta, except we are blind. It was our leaders here that created it. The same thing is happening in every part of this country. Those are in government. People that ate from our general purse. Governors, we knew what they did in River State and the kind of problems that arose therefrom. We knew what Alabama did in Bayelsa State. We knew what all of them did. That's the kind of country we are in. And until we sit back to address those issues, we won't be able to find meanings in the speech Mr. President had given yesterday. It's a reminder to all of us. He has told us, look, gentlemen, oil, oil, oil. Yes, when my friend mentioned that the part of the country that is feeding the country was not mentioned in that speech, yes, I agree with you. But I think we should also learn a very important thing from that speech to tell us that the world is getting out of oil. To tell us that, look, yes, today this is where we are, we're enjoying it, but we need to act and act very fast. Our local government areas and communities must pick something from this speech to knowing that even the country, Nigeria, is not looking at oil as the thing that will sustain her in the near future. And the earlier we begin to take those lessons and begin to work towards it, our local government areas and state governments begin to work towards it, we may end up thinking we are still wealthy when we are actually as poor as a church rat. In that speech, we have salient things we need to pick. The fact that this country has potentials, but not pursuing our real potentials, and that's where we are today. We need to pick from that speech the fact that all we need to look at is not a government that is supporting those that are already there, as it were, but a government that will be thinking for the majority of the populace. Our state government should borrow from this statement. That's yesterday's speech. Our local government areas should borrow from that yesterday's speech and begin to think in that same direction. And I've said severally, it is only and only when these tiers of government together think in the same direction that we can actually get out from where we are. Like Mr. President did say, I believe we can get out 100 million persons out of poverty. But that is only possible, only possible when there's a sync between the local government areas and the state governments. And when there's a right thinking by these persons, that is the only time we can actually, otherwise, rhetorics, sweet speech, as usual. That's where we'll end.
All right. For me, I find it a bit difficult to reconcile the two personalities of one person. The president who wrote a beautiful speech and the president who has ruled us for the past 4 years now. I mean, I find it difficult to reconcile what the president had just read to us and the realities on ground in Nigeria. First, he talked about justice and injustice. And I know that Aristotle said when equals are treated unequally, that is injustice. And on the other hand, when unequals are treated equally, it's also injustice. And, we are living witnesses to the fact that if, just like Ndukwe rightly pointed out, the appointments in this government, in the past government, it's a back of injustice, if you like, in a federation where all the federating units, by virtue of federal character principle, are supposed to be given a sense of belonging. And again, if you also talked about the economy too, and if you look at that, I also realized the fact that part of the problem, in fact, the major problem is the fact that you have a wide chasm between the very few who are rich and the rest of Nigerians who are wallowing in abysmal poverty and underdevelopment. And so every right-thinking government or state must put adequate measures in place to ensure that that gap is narrowed, is bridged. And, we are also expecting that in order to do that, economic measures should be put in place. I don't know. For me, I'm yet to see very, very pragmatic and result-yielding, result-oriented measures being put in place. It has been stories and promises and so on and so forth. So it's important we need to do that. And again, just like Dr. Rionama said, the state government, local government need to brace up to the challenges. But then they can also do that when we actually talk about the restructuring of this country in terms of, devolving responsibilities and functions to the different tiers of government. I don't see how state government and local government will contributing when at the end of the day they are still expecting that at the end every month they get allocations from federal government, and state government and local government will just fold their hands and wait for monthly allocations. I've said it time with that number, that the time has come for local government and state government to be more proactive and think out of the box. If federal government can invest in business that can generate revenue, why wouldn't local government and state government also do the same and invest and generate enough revenue for themselves rather than depending on allocation from the state government? This is a part of the impediments we are having. And so in a federation, it is expected that the different tiers of government or different federating units should be able to compete. There should be peer review mechanism. And it is this competition that, of course, that will trigger development in the different federating units and component units, which, of course, can enhance, ultimately, national development. But this is lacking. And again, while we also talk about the president, we are also talking about governors. There are state governors, local government chairmen who do not even think it is necessary for them to take a step forward in improving the economic condition of their states or local government areas. They are just like that, expecting that manna will always come from heaven. We have passed that stage. If we must pull ourselves out of this economic quagmire, then we need to do something extraordinary. We need to think out of the box. We need to be more proactive. It's not just story. People, countries or societies that have put themselves out of economic quagmire and poverty did not just tell stories. I mean, look at in Japan when they adopted the concept of juche, which of course emphasized on hard work. Japanese were out there working tirelessly, committed. You can't get that by mere stories, mere speeches, beautiful speeches. You can't just get that when at the end of the month, government, state government, local government will wait for the allocation from federal government. Occasioned by the fact that you have this faulty federal system. And I said it, how can you talk about injustice? Or justice when the system itself is couched in injustice? You have a very faulty federal system, federal arrangement, where the center, the federal government, is the big brother that shares. The constitution is being undermined. The federal constitution is being undermined to the point that the center is becoming more powerful and even dictates what happens in the state and local government. Somebody who is poor cannot decide. You can't have self-assertion. And that's why in the past, our leaders in the years past, the African leaders, talked about inserting African personality in the international arena. And they came up with what they called African socialism within the context of Ujama Vijijini, where they try to look, if you want to have economic independence and, of course, assert African personality, you need to go back to the land. Self-sufficiency, autarky. These are the key words. And I know they were in their wisdom. But then, unfortunately, those things that continuously pulled us back came into that program, and they almost died a natural death. So we need to actually look at these things and begin to take more proactive measures. We talk about democracy. It's not just by immortalizing Amkiko Abiola's name. You immortalize his name. What has happened to the bill on electoral reforms? What has happened to it? What has happened to democratic institutions? I've said in one of my papers that, look, it's not just enough for us to have...
democratic institutions?
Yeah.
What democratic institutions?
We know democratic institutions to be the political parties, the commission that conducts the election, INEC, and of course even the judiciary. These are democratic institutions.
So what about them?
Yeah, for instance, INEC, for instance, INEC, Independent National Electoral Commission. You recall that the late Yaradua, before he died, when he assumed office as the president of this country, of course, openly admitted Nigerians that the process that brought him in was quite a faulty one. And so, in his wisdom, decided to set up the Waste Commission to look at how they can reform the electoral system. And that commission, in its wisdom, made a recommendation, amongst so many other recommendations, that the appointment of INEC chairman should not be vested in the hands of the president. I think they recommended that it should be in the hands of, it's an agency or something like that, a body, you know. The essence is to actually guarantee the independence of that body. Because if INEC is not independent, it's being influenced by so many factors, then...
Okay.
So the point I'm making is that it is not just enough for you to immortalize Abiola. We need to imbibe democratic culture, which of course should permeate the cloaks and fabrics of Nigerian society. At whatever level, we need to imbibe democratic culture. And we need to see it in action. And how we conduct our elections, internal democracy process, and of course, the voting process. We need to imbibe. We need to begin to think as a people, how do we revive and imbibe and inculcate democratic culture that can see us through as a people? Because, you know, democracy, of course, is directly linked to development. Development is a process that begins with man and ends with man. So man needs to participate. And if man must participate in the development process, then man must be free from exploitation and oppression.
All right. I got your thoughts all through. Let me narrow down to some of the areas that I can remember from his speech when he spoke about decimating Boko Haram or their fight against insecurity, and mentioned a few things Boko Haram could do before, and he says that is not obtainable now, though what they're faced with now is banditry and kidnapping. And he went on to talk about how this sort of issue, especially when it comes to the problems we have concerning herdsmen and farmers and the continual clashes that we see, has not been a matter isolated to Nigeria alone, but something that's got to do with the region, the Sahel region. And he says, as chairman of ECOWAS, he was going to sit on a board that would look at, you know, fixing these problems and propagating solutions to it. Would you think that that in itself was what Nigerians were hoping to hear concerning the issue, especially of these clashes we've continued to hear and this havoc that herdsmen have continually created everywhere they go?
Yeah, it's
or in most places they go.
It's part of what Nigerians wanted to hear, but not in full. Nigerians wanted to hear, based on the promise he came to power with, that banditry, let me say Boko Haram to start with, has been decimated, because shortly after he came into office, his men were giving us some, you know, vocabularies about what they have been doing and classifying what they have been doing, to the extent that they said they have been decimated. We heard about that one. And there is another English they use again that
technically defeated.
Technically defeated. We also heard that. So a lot of those issues and those languages were used. But then I believe that he has done and made some progress in the fight against Boko Haram. But then under his watch, we have seen the emergence of another group that has now been described as banditry. Under his watch too, we have seen the escalation of the farmers, herdsmen fights and war in Nigeria. Under his watch too, we have also seen some agitations in parts of the Delta whereby he could not really nip in the bud. Be that as it may, sitting and saying that he's sitting on the ECOWAS board as the chairman will help him solve these issues. It's a way of saying that he has been overwhelmed by these issues in Nigeria.
You know, he did say that this issue itself is not isolated to Nigeria alone, but to the Sahel region. And that as chairman of the ECOWAS, since this is a broad-based problem,
exactly,
that he will help, the ECOWAS board will help find a solution towards this problem.
Yeah, we know. It's not that even before he became chairman of the board, these issues were there, and Nigeria remains a part of ECOWAS. So I think even without sitting on that board, he can actually mobilize these regional bodies and regional forces to help him fight this war. And I know he has been doing, because when he came to office in 2015, he visited some nearby countries, Chad, Cameroon, and some other countries, Niger, to talk on these issues. But then, how far has this paid off? What if the president had, in his speech, outrightly called for international help to fight this banditry and bring it to a halt? But he didn't do that. And then, the delay in making of that speech from May 29th to yesterday, June 12th, did not also outrightly address the world leader that were seated there, that he said they have to be there before we made the speech. The speech, the bulk of it is still being addressed to Nigerians. We see here fellow Nigerians. We are not hearing fellow Nigerians and fellow head of state and fellow head of government.
He has ladies and gentlemen, fellow leader and fellow Nigerians. I, who was reading, usually skipped most of it and went to fellow Nigerians, because I did say, I'll paraphrase where I can.
Okay, but to a large extent, he has done well in the area of security, but he needs to do more so that Nigerians can freely go about their business.
Okay, Opaka Dokubo, we're looking at that area. ECOWAS chairman and his idea of how to deal with the issue going on. He says this is a brother problem. The Sahel region is engulfed with this problem. And as chairman of the ECOWAS committee or board, he will help champion a solution.
Well, I do not see a sense of urgency in that, in the way he presents this matter or approaches this matter. We have a crisis on our hands, and when you are telling me you sit on ECOWAS board, I mean, well, Nigerians are dying. So even if you sit on ECOWAS board, this is a Nigerian problem. There are things that you must do locally. Yes, we know it. It has this regional, coloration and implication. But then there are things that you must do. I'm not sure this matter affects any country more than Nigeria now as we speak, within the region that you're talking about. So first and foremost, with in-house, what are you doing? So far, whatever is being done, it doesn't appear to be. You only succeeded at, from what he said now, yes, before now, Boko Haram could come even to Abuja and to do that. Then what happened? You were able to just push them out, and then they are now having a field day. Is that so that will protect the elite and the privileged ones, and leaving the people, the ordinary people vulnerable? Is that what it is? So, and then to now, I sit on the ECOWAS board and all. See, I don't know, but it's an emergency situation. It's a crisis. I want a president that will come out and tell us, look, this is what we are doing and this is what we must, and inspire the same feeling in Nigerians that you truly are affected. People are crying, people are dying every day. And then for me, it's like he's taking his time. I will do it, and then it doesn't show in his speech that truly he feels what Nigerians are feeling, and that the situation that we have is really it's almost getting out of hand. It's a bit too complacent with the situation.
You're saying the crisis demands more than the kind of approach.
More than the kind of approach that he's given.
Okay.
It's not helping.
Dr. Emmanuel Ronema, I hope you're still here.
Well, I'll try to be here, even though I find it difficult
to be here.
Ask somebody to do more without appreciating what the person had done so far. It's fundamentally one of the things he told us in that speech is the fact that today funding to the military has improved. One of the things he has told us today is that our soldiers use better weapons than they were using as at 2015. The other fact that it is a regional problem is a truth all of us admit and know. And from day one, if we had looked at his own approach, he had never believed it's a problem that Nigeria can solve on our own. His approach had been that of getting the region involved. And so telling us here that his leadership of the AU will help is nothing that is not far-fetched, it's real. Now, we must understand that part of the biggest challenge we have today is the fact that over the years we have entered into several funny agreements in attempts to wanting to show the world that we are giant of Africa without considering ourselves as a nation or our security as a nation. You've entered into those bonds. Perhaps somebody is telling me that we'll get up one day and say every such agreement in the past should be cancelled. Perhaps we want to go overnight, pariah in Africa. Except that's what we are looking at. I feel the pains of those directly involved as a Nigerian. People are dying every day. I feel the fact that most of those persons are the very ordinary Nigerians. And they require security, they require serious government support. I feel that fact. But I need also for us to appreciate the reality, as it were, that this is a problem. And it's not a problem you just pinch one day and it is off. But as a government, from what we have heard and seen in 4 years, we've seen a government that has not closed our eyes. Perhaps what we've not seen is a government that is shouting at the top of our voice at the ways and means she's carrying out those activities, which is what some persons want. But forgetting really that security is not something you go shout like we find our police do every other time. Robbers are around and you blow siren 300 miles away you're coming, only for them to go. You come down there 1 hour and you say you've come. That's not the kind of thing we expect people to hear in a security matter, as it were.
Right.
The part of the speech that says my position today will help, I don't see anything wrong in it. I expect that his position should help. He should be able to reach out to his colleagues from that seat far better than when he wasn't on that seat. That I agree with him. What we're encouraging him to do, and indeed every other person to look at, is the problem you think today is Nigeria may be your problem tomorrow. So he should be able to communicate that to his colleagues at that level better. And we need to see significant improvement from what has happened between 2015 and now. That's our hope. That's our belief. That's what we're looking for. That there should be significant. Yes, you've told us you use this position to do this. We want to see results.
All right. Okay. Well, we pretty much got the thoughts. Okay,
Yeah,
Manuel. We pretty much got the.
I'm not chewed on this one.
Well, we finished chewing. You chewed first.
No, this particular
You didn't swallow,
from
you
the
didn't
angle of
He chewed, but he didn't swallow.
Okay, let me swallow it. See, in the place I come from, there is a name.
You've
I will
not told us where
translate.
it is, so.
They say Igwebuike. That is, there is power in unity. So the president being the chairman of ECOWAS and other maybe regional bloc will help even in helping Nigeria in this insecurity. Because as the chairman, if he will manage that organization well, because that's a caveat, a serious one. If he will manage that union well, then you know that the union will stand to helping one another. The problem, like Opaka was saying, within this region is affecting Nigeria more along the lines of this insecurity, more than others. But with the help, we can see exactly what, for instance, Chad and Niger army have been doing to help Nigeria, even Cameroonian army and all that. So I think his being the chairman of all this will certainly help. But there's something that I may be drawing us by, but it's very important.
All right.
In the speech, like Fine Face pointed out, there was absolutely no mention of Niger Delta. When you are going on a trip, you don't have money, you are not going for any trip at all. It is in Niger Delta that is the vehicle, financial vehicle that drives Nigeria. There's no doubt about that. And then how can somebody be taking over a new office and you will not make mention of that supply route, that supply, the carrier of the finances of this country? And then While Dr. Rainama was mentioning, he said, yes, I agree with him. But then there's still a problem I have there. He said it shows, for instance, the entire country, and most especially Niger Deltans, that oil is no longer the in thing, as it were. So start looking elsewhere. I agree with Dr. Rainama. However, in the meantime, oil is still the in thing for Nigeria, even if elsewhere they've even abandoned it. Then that is where Nigeria finance is coming, 90% or so. And then you are forgetting that angle. How will people of Niger Delta be very happy? Will they feel belong?
That's your swallow?
Of course, I've followed
Okay.
it.
All right.
Finally.
I don't know whether I want to just add a little. I think we have federal secretariat in Rivers State, and I know that there are people in these states who are telling the president of Nigeria what people are saying about his policies and programs. They should listen to Today FM. We said it here the last time we were talking that the president was going to make mistakes in his Democracy Day speech because he failed to make the speech he was supposed to make on the day he took over office for the second tenure. These are what we are seeing now. A lot of issues, a lot of things he was supposed to talk about, he has abandoned them. Niger Delta, no mention. IDP in Brunei, no mention. Boko Haram, Leah Shaibu talking about the Chibok girl, no mention. Those, a lot of things that he left out. So I think the president and those who are listening to us.
But let's understand that the president can't capture everything.
No, but there are
No.
statements he can make.
He can't capture
There are things
everything.
I know. There are.
I'll probably start listing so many other things I think he has left
No,
out.
even Jesus didn't capture everything.
I know that if the president
like that.
captures everything. There is no paper on earth that will contend. I will take like one day reading this speech. And that is why even in that speech he said he was going to talk to us again another day. We are waiting. But he should have spoken to us on May 29th. Speak again yesterday, especially Democracy Day speech.
I guess one of
and
the
then go
things
forward
that
to
the president will need to realize is that we're never ever going to get enough of his speeches. The speeches are never going to be too
At
much.
all.
As a matter of fact, we feel as if we're deprived of his speeches. I remember when in his first 4 years, then we said to get anything out of the president, we had to hear from when he was outside the country, and we had expected that there was that communication with the Nigerian people more often, so we understand what steps he's taking, what his plans were, and not when he was giving speeches outside the country they would now realize, oh, so he asked the military to do that, or this is what's going on. And so for him to think, oh, because I have one ceremony coming up the next day, so therefore I'll compound the two speeches in one, or there's no point. I think for me, it was an oversight. They should have given us a speech at that time and given us another here. We'll never get tired because he's the leader. And you can't lead a people blindly. We want to know where we're going. And if you're not letting us know, then there's a problem. And I think that is where people get to be disenchanted with his leadership style. If you're not communicating, we don't know what's going on, obviously we'll start to complain. And if he's going to say this is a democracy speech, like, I don't know which one of us said it, it didn't carry for me the spirit of democracy and what it entails.
No, it didn't fully. It didn't at all.
I didn't see
It's
it.
more or less like inauguration.
This is not a
speech.
democracy
I
speech.
didn't
We have said
see
it.
it.
He didn't have a speech for that one. It didn't.
I didn't feel
I saw.
that spirit of democracy. I think it was the end, yes, June 12th.
Oh, good. You saw some.
MK Abiola Stadium.
Stadium, that's
No,
the
maybe I saw-
democracy speech.
I did not see how
The speech
democracy.
itself doesn't concern much on democracy.
How
What
democracy
is democracy, if not what people should
No,
expect
but we have-
to get in a democracy? The economy, if the economy is, what the main reason of democracy is to
No,
say,
I
hey,
mean, why did
let's
we
get
fight?
this wealth
Why
out.
did
Let's
we fight?
not
Why
remain in
did we
30%
fight
hand.
for this for 20 and got it about 20 years ago?
Because we didn't want
The
our
history.
economy to remain in single person's hand. And he did mention there clearly that, look, part of his drive in this 4 years, part of his drive is going to be to see how he can decentralize this so-called wealth in 30 person's hands.
Was our economy in a single person's hand?
Yes,
than the
that's
military?
always when people say, I mentioned the items too.
But even now, we still feel our economy is in single.
That's what
person's
he's doing, he's trying to reduce it. And that's why some of them are not there too.
Doc, there's not been much significant change.
But there's change.
Well, change is constant.
And he has
So
told
there may
you,
be an iota
nations
of
were
it,
never
but
built in
that's
a
not
day.
enough.
Nations are not built in a day.
I agree. But I agree very well. Nations are not built in a day. But I also believe that there should be significant change or departure from, even if you like, the ugly past. If truly we identify something as ugly, then there should be a significant part to that ugly.
I don't know how much you want to see, otherwise I have seen significant change, and I can tell you outright. I don't know how much, but I expect more, yes.
Okay.
I expect more.
Thank God you've agreed with me.
I expect more, but that will not say that there have not been change or something.
No
not
significant change, Doc.
Well, that's measurement.
See, it tells us that very soon he is going to gather, very strong team. Okay. And we had this, the last time we had it, it didn't come for that 6 months. And when it came, all of us, it kept everybody mouth agape as to whether this is what we got after 6 months. Yes, 6 months of brain cracking and searching the whole, and that is what
that was a beautiful team. Now, show me anybody there that is not.
Now we have had again. I'm going to assemble. Come. He won the election in February.
Mm-hmm.
In March.
Got inaugurated in May. And in June, you're telling us you are still going to put a thing together. Mm-hmm. Are we ever going to get somewhere in this country?
Why was the National Assembly inaugurated?
I'm still talking about the sense of urgency.
No,
it's just not there.
I am not saying this team that he said is going to inaugurate to be the ministers. No.
He didn't say inaugurate. He's still going to gather.
It's not the ministers. To me, it's not the minister. The minister has statutory and things that he's going to do as soon as the National Assembly settles down to business. And the call is that he shouldn't delay till November again this year before appointing ministers. The team he's talking about is the economic team that he will put together to drive this development process.
That's the point I'm making now. How long? You have been there since,
it's
since February you won election.
Mm-hmm.
No, to me, it's early now. Look, it was just won in May 29th. A few days ago.
The thing is being gathering.
National Assembly just came into office 2 days ago.
We're still like, oh, everything is okay. There's nothing serious. We're not in any crisis.
But for this one,
Nigeria is in trouble.
Mr. Baga, you and I are part of this trouble.
To the extent, for once the president believed that many people are in poverty, and you are telling you're going to pull. We're capable. I'm sorry, I'm even making it sound like he made the promise. Didn't make a promise that we're capable of pulling 100 million people out of poverty
in 10 years.
In 10 years, that's 10 million a year. You have 4 years.
Yeah, that's why he says they have this
so
social.
You will be able to at least
that's why he says they have
million.
a social intervention scheme going on. For him, he believes that is key in pulling out people out of poverty.
Fineface asked the question. That program had been on for how many years now? How many people has it taken out of poverty? If you're going to continue on that one, tell us first and foremost how much that has
I don't
succeeded.
understand. Do you have taking people out of poverty, what you think is a one fell swoop thing?
No, but he has started a social intervention program.
How much has that one?
He was supposed to give all the statistics. When he came into office, this was unemployment rate. Based on his social intervention program, it has reduced unemployment rate from this number to this number.
No, but I do believe. I
get angry because I know what to do. I don't have the opportunity to do it. And we will need to tell Mr. President like we are telling him what to do and how to do it.
Well, calm down with you knowing how to do things. I do believe there is a bureau for statistics that gives out information.
And that each of us here can reach.
And each time they give out information.
Can reach.
I know we can reach, yes, thank you. But these guys give out information at all times. So if there is a program that is supposed to be changing the status quo of poverty in the land, whatever the bureau is giving should be in tandem with whether that system is working.
Yeah.
If the bureau comes and says you have 10% poor people in Nigeria, and 4 years later, after that social investment program is going on, it comes on and says you have 25% poverty rate, you obviously can say then that system has failed. Yeah. I don't think that he needs to now tell you this is it, it's 10% now I'm going on. I don't think it's necessary. That's what I'm saying. But if he does it, it's a plus. It's a necessity here that I'm looking at. If he does it, it will be a plus. That means, okay, good. These people are actually doing this sort of calculation. But if he doesn't do it, I don't think it takes anything away from the fact that he believes for him that this social intervention scheme that he has out there is to change the status quo for the millions of Nigerians who are poor.
I think he has a lot to do. He has gotten the opportunity. He needs to tell us what he has done with, I said it the other time, the last 4 years, how many people he has been able to pull out of poverty. I know it's within his administration that Rivers State, for instance, let me start with my state. was rated as the state with the highest rate of unemployment by the same bureau, National Bureau of Statistics. And Rivers State shouted that that figure was not true. They should still come forward now and tell us what has happened for the president in all other states of the federation put together. We shouldn't be ashamed to say that we have done well or we have not done well. It is only when we tell ourselves the truth that we can be able to solve our problems.
I agree with you.
I think there's something we've missed. Maybe we're not getting the flesh out of the entire story. The man has told you one issue of capacity. He has told you where this capacity resides. And when I was doing my analysis, I did say something. I said, look, the 10 or the 100 million persons getting out of poverty, the man has told you his drive point. He had emphasized severally the availability of arable lands. He has told you it's agri. And I've told you, in my analysis, I've said it loud and clear, that it's only states, local governments, that are able to see this direction and key it in, that can pull out persons in their own areas. Rivers State, for instance, can never, with the kind of relation we have currently, can never
do.
Cross River State has several farms today as I talk to you. Between these 4 years, I know how many farms and how many persons that have been employed and how much income that have come. You and I do know about Lake Rice thing that was hitherto. Take Lake Rice, for instance. How many persons have been pulled out from their hitherto positions? Now, what we're expecting the federal government to do is just this policy drive thing. The real pull out of poverty, the real generation of employment is at the local government areas and the states.
Which are not in Nigeria.
Which have refused. State governments and local governments that have refused.
How? How have they refused?
I've told River State, for instance. The past administration in River State did attempt a shift out from the oil thing.
To agriculture, yeah, that's true.
And I challenge the president of the government to tell me, in the past 4 years, if there was even a commissioner of agriculture and what he had done in these 4 years.
There was no.
I challenge
yes, there was a minister.
So
there
tell
was
me
a
what
commissioner.
happened. Tell me what happened in 4 years.
There was a commissioner.
Tell me what happened in 4 years.
No, you said
the farm
you
in Calabaran died. I'm coming. The fish farm in Calabaran died. The entire Golden Land farms all died.
Andoni.
The Andoni own died. So what has the Commissioner for Agriculture in 4 years in River State, for instance, done? Those are the questions I need to ask. And if you want to pull up, and see, when they tell you that River State, perhaps, I didn't even see that statistic, they tell you that River State became the poorest, or the highest in unemployment.
Yeah.
The figures are open for us. We can see what the reasons why that happened.
Well, like you said, River State said those figures.
River State said no, that figure is not correct.
We know
that's what.
That is highly correct.
Why? Why is
all the farmers around the land ended up going back to their houses. That was a big industry that was on its own thriving.
Songhai farm.
The Songhai farm. If all of them did leave, that alone is even enough to give you a higher figure of unemployment. So we need to understand these kind of basic things.
Well, these basic things that you want to understand is the same basic things that we need to understand from the president.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
And I said, read this. Read this.
Read what? We can't be reading in between the lines. No.
In between the lines there, you get the
we can't
message.
keep reading in between
what
the
the federal
lines.
government needs
He
to
needs
do
to speak to us in black and white. Not only speak to us in black and white, we need to see action backing that thing.
To support states to drive this process. We could have arable land, and the president has pointed out.
What is it about the arable land?
Have the resources, the capital to go into these areas, the equipment. Remember, the issue of Land Use Act is still a big problem to agriculture in Nigeria. These issues needs to be tackled, and they must be tackled from the center. Then states can now buy in to develop and make those
Our
things
listeners
work.
need to be part of the show now. Thank you very much. It's 11 minutes out there. Yes, 11 minutes after 11. And I want to open the phone lines so that you can call in. We've been looking at the president's speech. I can't believe that we've been doing that for 2 hours. We want to see what you thought about it. I mean, some people have been holding their breath right from inauguration day, hoping that by the time they get it, this time at Democracy Day, will be fully packed. Were you impressed? What do you think out of it? And what do you think of the fact that we had our past leaders in Nigeria, that's the presidents and heads of states, not on that, not attending that occasion? What do you make out of it? These are the areas or angles to which we dissected today. So the studio number is 0810-9510-951 or 0817-0000-951. Those are the numbers you need to dial to get through to us here. Let's get to your thoughts. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
Annie, good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name?
Yeah, Yeah, my name is Lawson. I'm calling from Yenagoa. Greetings.
Lawson, good to have you. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm surprised, honestly. You understand that some of your guests, you understand, even in the worst government, definitely there will be one or two things you will say, yes, this person has done right. To completely just condemn, you understand, and say nothing. It's funny because Nigeria, we shouldn't forget that this government came in. You understand? I'm not even, in fact, the president said even the most partisan would agree. Obviously, the president was mistaken because looking at, especially Opaka's view, it means that nothing has happened. Annie, what is the biggest problem? Like the reason why Nigeria has not developed is corruption. Do you know that today, for the first time in the history of Nigeria, people are returning money? Look at what the EFCC under this government has recovered. Look at the social programs. It's the largest, biggest in any government. Go and check. For today, look at farmers. They have celebrated great sufficiency. Today, Nigeria is the largest producer of rice. You understand? It's the largest producer of rice. Now, when the president says he wants to, they are going to lift 100 million people out of poverty, why are people saying it is difficult? It's because people are pessimistic. Honestly, sometimes we need to be nationalistic.
Lawson, please, hold on, Lawson. You said Nigeria is the largest producer of rice where?
In Africa. You understand? So,
where do you get that statistics from, please?
Annie,
it's a question. Just tell me. Don't do Haba Annie. Where did you get that statistics from?
I think you should go and find. Where you can research. It's I think the right center also in. I think is it Benny or something. That statistics came out. I think you should ask Andrew.
So you don't know where it came out from. You're just saying it too. You don't know where.
No. I know where it came. That's what I am telling you to go and check.
Check where now? What should I check?
I am not keeping that, but I know Egypt was the highest. Nigeria has overtaken Egypt in Africa. I'm surprised you're asking me the source.
Because I haven't heard it before. That's all. Since you're giving me the information, you might as well just tell me where to check.
No, it's out there. Maybe I will check and let you know because I can't continue to keep all these sources because it's something that.
Thank you very much, Lawson. Thank you, Lawson.
No,
we got
done
you.
Yes, 1 minute, please.
Yes.
And again, Nigeria, we have we have the resources. You understand? We have human capital. We have the population. You understand? Why can't we lift 100 people out of poverty? Let me tell you.
Okay, Lawson, I saw what you said about rice. I've seen it. I confirm that Nigeria overtakes Egypt as largest rice producer in Africa from the Director General for Rice, Africa Rice, Benin Republic. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, exactly.
Hold on, let me just finish.
Exactly.
Wrap up and go.
There's one thing I need you to understand. GDP.
I'm not the one understanding, Lawson.
Okay, fine. Well, what I want Nigerians to know is that the GDP that we talk about, the GDP growth, it's mainly, you understand, driven by the private sector. You understand? All of us need to put our hands together to grow our GDP. It's not government. Look at our population. A larger part of our population are unproductive. Unproductive. That's Nigerians for you. You understand? Nobody is creating anything. Nobody is doing anything.
All right, Lawson, we got your thoughts on that. Thank you very much.
Let me just briefly add this. Nigeria can be the highest producer of rice, even in the world. How has that put food on the table of Nigerians? How has that reduced the cost of rice? When Nigeria was not the highest in Africa or even in West Africa, we were buying rice cheaper. Now
That's
Nigeria is highest.
No, because we opened the doors and we're taking rice from everywhere else.
That's the effect on other parts of the
It's a systemic thing. It's eventually you begin to feel the impact. It's not a day one thing. By the time we now have all the largest producers and we can now comfortably provide rice for our local consumption and then start exporting, that is when you know the difference.
In 10 years, anyway.
Yeah, well, as long as it will take, but we have to get there. You start small. Hello, Today95.1 FM. Good morning.
Annie, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
KSP calling from Iwofe.
Go ahead, KSP.
Annie, yeah, frankly speaking, if this speech were to be from first timer, I would have clapped hand for the person. But I'm not happy because my president has been there for 4 years. So this beautiful and wonderful speech coming from him is not even helping matter. First of all, let's take the security. He talked about security. He told us that he came in via 3 points: corruption, insecurity, and all the rest. So the insecurity, what happened? You say you have improved. You technically defeated Boko Haram, and technically banditry or herdsmen entered. Is that what you are telling us? You technically defeated Boko Haram, technically banditry and herdsmen and other ones entered. You are telling us to go back to farm. You are having herdsmen and farmers clashing almost every day. Where are we to farm? In fact, where is the federal government farm? I've asked this question before. We have Minister for Agriculture. What is he? What is he doing? You can see my two brothers here, Opaka and Iwanyarama, almost doing the nature of Nigeria, right there in studio. Two of them.
What nature is that?
The division nature of Nigeria now. The disunity nature of Nigeria. You can see the two of them. I was listening keenly. This one indirectly opposing this one indirectly opposing this one. This one agreeing, this one the Nigeria.
But that is life. You don't have people agreeing all the time. It is normal to see people disagree. Nobody even says you need to agree. It's that we understand that in our disagreement we're not enemies. That's the point.
Yes, I agree. But you can see that the two of them are not. That's why I said the nature of Nigeria. If from the beginning, where you were asking why they are not coming, they are not supposed to come. They are the problem. They are not the problem. What I'm saying is, Mr. President giving us this fantastic and fabulous statement. What he himself, even in the security aspect of it, you are not bombing Abuja. So the elite, they should go ahead freely. Then the masses should suffer. Because if they are not bombing Abuja again, they should continue to bomb the farmers and headers and farmers should be clashing. Is that what he's telling us? Corruption, and we are still, he said he is fighting. Corruption, we are paying subsidy. They told us the reason why we increased the pump price was to stop fuel subsidy. We are paying almost 11 trillion. And divide 11 trillion naira, divided by 2.
All right, we'll go your thoughts on these issues. Thank you so much for your call. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
Good morning, Annie. Okay, Daniel from Port Harcourt.
Okay, Daniel from Port Harcourt. Go ahead.
Actually, 2 years, our president has murdered democracy in the past, 1983 to be precise. This our president he has not been doing well right from time. He is the greatest mother of democracy. You can see the history. And that alone shows why none of the past head of state appears yesterday. None of them. Does it mean from Yakubu 1 down to Goodluck Jonathan? Does it mean they are all of them are at loggerhead with Mr. Buhari or what? No, because they saw that this guy, what he's doing has no impact to Nigerians, even with the ordinary people. So no need showing face there. So to me, I appeal to him. He should just start doing the right thing, not say one thing and do another thing. It doesn't help anybody. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. 0810-951-0951. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning. What's your name?
It's Dr. Jude Walker.
Dr. Jude Walker, where are you calling from, please?
Port Harcourt.
Go ahead.
I think our issue does not really matter about the president's speech. As a nation, where are we coming from? What are we? And what are we going to? Now, if president's speech revolves into looking at the economy, political and social development of this country, what is on ground? Now, in this philosophy of president, democracy is a thing that every of us should be involved in. The man said he was going to fight corruption, poverty, the economy, and look at the issue of how to develop this nation. So what's the achieving? Now, we need good road. We need industry. Are we becoming a producing nation or a consuming nation? How do we go out there? What are the Nigerians doing to help themselves in the midst of nothing? This is what we should. Creative mind. How innovative are we? Are we creating employment in little way we can? Nigeria is not Buhari, because any month from now, Buhari will go. Buhari started 4 years ago, yes. He met challenges, and those challenges when we fell into recession. But today we are out of it by special grace of God. So what do we do to ameliorate our suffering? That's democracy for me. Democracy should tell the people of how best they can manage what they have. What is government doing, what society, and what are the people doing for themselves? So Buhari has been able to outline what he intends to do. So we expect him to put up the team of the people he wants to do that way, so that at the end of the day we get to assess and evaluate his performance. Just like people will remember that Jonathan is not there, that he was able to allow peace within the little they can. So in this issue, he must come from which is government. What is government? Government is of the people. So if of the people, what are the people doing to help themselves? Are they almost thinking out of the box, just like Azema has said, so that at the end of the day we see a nation that is for all of us. I think that's my contribution. Democracy is for the people. So both the government, the people, and the society must be collaborating to see how possible we can drive ourselves out of this quagmire. That's the only way we can do ourselves better. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much. We got your thoughts too on that. Moving on, 0810-951-0951 or 0817-000-951. Those are the numbers to the studio. Don't forget they can send in text messages too. Hello, good morning. What's your name?
Good morning, Annie. My name is Ahusi Chima, calling from Port Harcourt.
Go ahead.
Yes, Annie, that's where Mr. President said that Nigeria is capable to develop like some nations that some other countries I mentioned, which Indonesia is among. And I think this has actually vindicated most of us who have consistently, saying that Nigeria is being pocketed by a few greedy individuals at the helm of affairs. So it has actually cleared that point that Nigeria has the potential, but our leader has failed to put up the economic policies that can take us to where our president just spoke yesterday. Then secondly, on the issue of the past leader not attending yesterday June 12th celebration, I think it has nothing. There is no consequences at all. It has nothing. Because these are the same leaders who brought decadence to our governance. What are they coming there to do? A leader that failed to realize that there will be tomorrow whereby we, the aspiring youth, can become something in life. They decided on their own to pocket whatsoever that they had. They are the one that left Nigeria in this condition we are today. Then economic policies of Mr. President about corruption. I think if Buhari fight corruption politically, we all appreciate him. Because what we have seen so far, we are not seeing a corruption that is being fight politically. What we have seen is vindictiveness. You understand? Mr. President is fighting the corruption using them to avenge his political opponents. But if he fights it politically, because it's the corruption that has left Nigeria to where we are today. So I think these economic policies about corruption, we want to see it clear. We want to see it whereby we see those in his government, like the past SGF, the former SGF, we are still to see the case today. The FCC said they have arrested him. I don't know if they have been arrested and that case is being prosecuted. We want to see them all. So we want to see that fight of corruption being fought holistically so that Nigeria can be able to set ourselves in that position of development which we all aspire. God bless the Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We got your thoughts too. Hello, Today95.1 FM. Good morning.
Good morning.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
It's calling from Port Harcourt.
Okay, Chooks, go ahead.
The comment or the broadcast would actually be this thing that the president made is no different from the one you have been saying before. Why do I say so? He told us that it's not for anybody, it's for everybody. And after 6 months, when we want to recruit people who he will work with, we keep us staff there. Do this one, leave us this thing there, that side. everything on one side. Was that what he said? You can see that the comment does not make any meaning to somebody like me. And that is the usual thing that he normally do. It's not the first. It's not the first time. And concerning those people that did not attend the former head of state, it's not a good reputation that you are doing something like this. The former did not come. Even one person, even one among them did not come. It's reading something to him. And we are back concerning this fighting of insurgents on the other side. It's the same thing. When somebody sell off a dog and buy a pussycat, it's still remaining the same cotton animal. Thank you very much.
We got your thoughts on that too. Thank you for calling in. All right, let me see if I can read a few text messages if I can, because we really don't have time. Paka, you're laughing at me.
Dog, can't go back to the cat. Come sell of the animal.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to see if I can get through the phone lines. Let me just take a phone call while I wait for that. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Yes, good morning. What's your name? Hello?
Chief Bernard from Mbosi.
All right, Chief Bernard from Mbosi, go ahead.
Yeah, like the democracy day that the president celebrated yesterday, I don't see anything to celebrate because this democracy was handed over by Olusegun Obasanjo to Shehu Shagari, and Buhari went and truncated that democracy. And now coming to tell us that it's celebrating democracy. Who truncated democracy before when Shehu Shagari was in the office? Which president before Buhari came in? So why are we celebrating what he is trying to rebuild what is fallen? And he asked us to come and celebrate. That's why the former leader that did not attend. So he's the one who truncated democracy and coming back to invite people to come and he is celebrating democracy. On what reason? You don't have any reason to celebrate democracy because he is the one who killed democracy. Thank you.
All right, we got your thoughts there. This one says, greetings, Annie. I'm sending this message before any comment, and I'll be surprised if anyone says all is well concerning the absence of past presidents. That's from Jappy. Send that to us. Jappy, thank you. Hello, Today 95.1 FM.
Hello, Annie. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name?
I'll give you my name. I'm a police officer, please.
Police officer. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. You see, there's something that bothered me a lot, when I'm listening to all these people calling Obasanjo did not come and whoever did not come. I was in Abuja yesterday before God. I was with somebody from this river state. We just come back yesterday night. Even if Obasanjo come there, nobody will be pushing. So what we're talking about, the democracy has come. No two ways about it. People say that Obasanjo hand over to Shekari hand over to Obasanjo. The person that fought the June 12 and died for it, Abdullah Isuma, So that's whatever people saying about democracy, he has taken, he has taken, he has done what he wanted to do yesterday and leave. All these things that telling that other governors were there. Even if a state governor was not there, they didn't talk it. So why is it not there? No, but why did they not ask why the state governor was not there? All of the state governors are there. People that are great location. Why here, this River State Radio, every time talking something about that? Thank you very much, man.
Oh my goodness. Good morning, Annie and the panelists. I agree with the speaker who said that it is left for states and local governments to key into Mr. President's ideologies to achieve the certain goals, but regrettably, I don't expect them to key in as they still politicize everything, including lives of Nigerians. Thank you. And another here says, Nigeria is the highest producer of rice in Africa. Is that the point? How has that affected us positively as a people? If Nigerians were buying a bag of rice 9,000, then that we are not the highest producer of rice in Africa. We're now buying the same bag of rice 16,000 and above. Why should anyone be proud to say that this government has done so much on that? Hyacinth from Port Harcourt. Well, Hyacinth, you've got to realize that means that there's work here now. People are now growing the rice. People are now polishing that rice. People are now bagging that rice. Companies are growing. People are being employed. And if that continues to grow, more and more people will find themselves employed. Your 16,000 naira was actually helping to sustain another economy somewhere else. Your 9,000 naira was helping sustain another economy somewhere else. Your 16 is helping to grow yours. If your economy gets better, your naira versus the dollar gets better. He mentioned justice in his speech. Imagine a set of region mining gold for years in Zamfara and adjoining states without paying royalty to the Nigerian state. So also platinum and other precious minerals from Kaduna and other northern states without paying taxes to the federation. Yet they not only collect taxes from oil down here, but also own over 88% of oil blocks down here. What is justice in that? To remove people from poverty. In his speech, aside fighting his imaginary corruption, he should try to create wealth. Michael Newman, first of all, corruption is not imaginary to the president. It's as real as everything we do. I'm sure if you look around you where you are, Michael Newman, you will see it clearly. And he went on to say, for more than 2 years now, Nigeria has been borrowing money to pay salaries. Where? Did Nigeria borrow money to... Michael Newman, that's okay. That's about the much I can take from your text. Hello, Today95.1 FM. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes,
Madam
please.
Annie.
What's your name and where are you calling from? You're the last caller.
Ikechi is my name. I'm calling from Refinery.
Go ahead.
Okay. My regards to you, I guess, in the studio. I think if people don't have anything to say, they should not open their mouth and start saying something. When Mr. President says the youth are lazy, people will come and criticize and talk, say the president is not talking well. Now he has viewed that his policy of his government. People are still coming out and criticizing. What are we going to do for Nigeria? Good. And it's great for all this I guess you are bringing in the studio that cannot even encourage us to even clear up, to think well about this, about Nigeria. It's not about Mr. President. It's about the future. What have we done good that will lead us to this? Has it been our president follow a good policy and a good government? We will not be here. But Mr. President is trying his best. People are still coming up, asking for what he has been done. He said he liberate us from poverty to good government. Then people are still deciding. How are we going to, help the government succeed? That's what I'm trying to hear from the guests in the studio. Here, they are still criticizing every damn thing that Mr. President does.
Right,
they're talking about and
okay.
Ambassador will come and then we will see Ambassador picture there.
I believe that in order to avoid the conflict we are having today, the president should go beyond that to initiate a bill that will transfer the handing over date from May 29th to June 12th so that we have one single event, one speech, and there will be no issue again.
Fine face, doing the minute, fine face, public affairs analyst, and my spokesman. Thank you so much. Opaka Dokubo.
Thank you very much. Not much. I think whatever needs to be done should be done. Nigeria is in a quagmire. I mean, there is no indices. Every indication points to the fact that we're in trouble. So I'll still call on the Mr. President, the federal government, to put a little bit of urgency and sense of urgency in everything that needs to be done. That will get ourselves out of this situation.
All right. Thank you very much, Opaka Dokubo, former chairman, NUG River State. And then Dr. Emmanuel Iroyanama.
Like I've always said, every other time, real development will only come when all of us think and work towards development. The greater proportion of poverty resides in our local government areas and in our states. Our state governments must rise above partisanship and party lines and self-interest to reach the point where they can actually think of what is good for the majority of the people. We've been told, and indeed some of us believe it, 100 million persons, yes, can get out of poverty. But that can only be done when our local government areas and states key in and work together.
All right, Dr. Emmanuel Iroyanama, chartered arbitrator, mediator, management consultant, and socio-economic commentator. Thank you so much. But I've got to read this last text here. This last text here says, evil woman, You are happy it is favoring your people. If anyone wants to comment on the injustice going on in the old Eastern region under APC, you use style and cut the person. And Ima is happy. Ima, emeregi eme na juju. What's that? Emeregi eme.
Is it done to me through juju or what? I don't know what is done to me. I'm not in the place of anything. Nobody has hypnotized your brother if you are from my side.
I can't believe this. Oh my goodness.
Before we forget, please say happy birthday
to Professor Andrew Efemini. Happy birthday to Professor Andrew Efemini. Today is his birthday. From all of us here, we're wishing you a very, very, very wonderful celebration. Yes. Where's the address? Where is he saying?
He didn't give us address. He said he has ordered some food.
Is it in Benin report?
No, it has to be here.
You should let us know where it is.
Yes, Prof, you are within the reach of our voices.
We'll track you down, Professor Andrew.
Tell us where the birthday is starting. Happy birthday to you from 5 days and all of us in the studio.
All right, Emmanuel, conclude.
Well, I certainly believe that the first term of this administration, because it came back, there is nobody that can say that there was no single positive effect. But that wasn't enough. I also believe that there will be positive ones in this particular second term. Let the president activate the machinery of government to make sure that all these promises in this speech are realized.
All right,
if not, Nigeria will.
Thank you very much. This is where we wrap up. Entertainment Express comes up next.
Are you ready? Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
Insecurity has become a common factor in our general language within the Nigerian space, no doubt. Not only has it become a threat, it has begun taking diverse dimension we cannot ignore, where cultism spreads and breeds evil in its every wake. A solution we seek. A desire to stop the trend is imminent. And as your number one talk station, we have taken the challenge to champion this discourse and prefer solutions. Join us at our Anti-Cultism Summit on the 6th of July at 9 a.m. Be part of the solution.
You got a fetish for my love. Been waiting for a lifetime for you.
Listen to Entertainment Today
every weekday
at 11:30 a.m.
And I'm so I don't even mind. Every weekday
at 11:30 a.m.
Only on Today 95.1 FM.
Voice of the people.
Ilẹ̀ ti mọ́ èèyàn wá lò èyí lè yan ok ilẹ̀ ti mọ́ ẹ̀yà ọ̀nà.